Chapter 8 Secrets. Jack could see the Paris sky through the iron rails of the tower. At first, climbing was easy. The steps weren't very steep, and Jack counted each one as they climbed. 26, 27, 28. I wonder what's going on at the top of now, said Annie. 31, 32, 33, breathed Jack. I wonder if the sorcerer is there with the others, said Annie. What will he do when he finds out that the guys aren't the kinds of magicians he thinks they are? Don't know, breathed Jack. 49, 50. I'll bet he won't believe them, said Annie. He might kidnap them and force them to tell their secrets. 62, 63, said Jack. Faster, faster, said Annie. By the time they had counted the 360th step to the tower's first-story platform, they were both panting. Jack's feet felt like lead. That's a lot of steps, said Annie, out of breath. No kidding, said Jack, gasping between words. But we have to keep going. They kept going, but a little more slowly. Jack picked up the count. 361, 362. You can see how he might have thought Alexander Graham Bell was a new magician, said Annie, panting. 392, 393, said Jack. Think about it, said Annie. You've never used a phone in your life. Then one day you pick up this thing, hear a voice talking, the voice of someone who lives far away. You'd think... Magic, breathed Jack. 444, 445. And Thomas Edison, said Annie. Think about it. Thousands of years. You depend on fire for light. Then, one day, you flip a switch. Presto! A glass bulb lights up. Magic, gasped Jack. 510, 511. And Louis Pasteur, think about it, said Annie. There are all these diseases. Nobody knows what's causing them. Then one day, this guy discovers germs, and he figures out a way to wipe out the bad ones. Magic, said Jack. 602, 603, 604. I can't believe the sorcerer would do anything mean to these guys, said Annie. Even if he's evil, said Jack. 620, 621. His leg muscles burned, but he moved like a machine up the mountain of steps. Finally, they reached the second platform. 700, breathed Jack. We have to keep going, said Annie. Keep going. And let's get our rhyme ready, said Jack. As soon as we see the sorcerer, we have to say it. Make him disappear. Right, breathed Annie. That's our mission. Protect the new magicians and find out their secrets for Merlin. Don't talk. Save breath, said Jack. Jack and Annie kept climbing and counting. Drawing closer to the top of the tower, Jack heard piano music. As they climbed higher, the music grew louder. Finally, Jack and Annie climbed onto a third platform. 1,652, gasped Jack. They were almost at the very top of the tower. A spiral staircase led from the platform up to a terrace. Jack's leg muscles ached, his head hurt, his heart pounded. But we have to keep going, he whispered. He and Annie dragged themselves up the spiral staircase that led to the terrace. They both collapsed and sat on the top step, trying to breathe. A flag overhead flapped noisily. Damp with sweat, Jack felt chilled by the wind. The piano music was coming from a very small apartment on the terrace. I wonder who's playing, said Annie, still gasping for breath. Maybe one of the magicians, said Jack. Or the sorcerer, said Annie. Jack felt a surge of fear. It almost took away his tiredness. We have to make him disappear, he said. He stood up shakily. Let's look through the window, said Annie. The two of them struggled against the wind as they staggered to the window of the apartment. When they peeked in, they saw a cozy room with leather chairs and glowing lamps. A man with a trim, pointed beard was playing the piano. Behind him stood an elderly man with a graying beard, a big man with a bushy white beard, and a friendly-looking man with no beard. All of them were smiling and nodding their heads in time to the music. "There's 4 of them in there," whispered Jack. "Is the 4th one the sorcerer?" said Annie. "Or is he the 4th new magician?" "I don't think any of them are the sorcerers," whispered Jack. "None of them look evil. They all look pretty nice." "What is this place anyway?" said Annie. "Let's check the book," said Jack. He pulled out the guidebook and looked up Eiffel Tower. He found a drawing of the tower. Each platform was labeled. The area at the top read, "At the very top of the tower is the apartment of Gustave Eiffel." A picture showed Gustave Eiffel sitting in his apartment. "Look, he's the guy playing the piano," said Jack. He read on. "Gustave Eiffel is one of the world's master engineers. He built the Eiffel Tower with glass and iron, the world's newest building materials. Since these materials are lighter than stone or brick, structures can be built very tall. The tower's open design and its iron beams keep it stable in strong winds." "He's the 4th magician," whispered Jack. "The magic of iron. He bends the metals of earth and triumphs over the wind." "They're all together now," said Annie. "Alexander Graham Bell, Thomas Edison, Louis Pasteur, and Gustave Eiffel, the 4 new magicians." "And the evil sorcerer hasn't shown up yet," said Jack. "Come on," said Annie. "We have to warn them about him." "And find out their secrets before he does," said Jack. He and Annie walked up to the door of the apartment. Annie knocked. The night fell silent as the piano music stopped. "Oh, brother," thought Jack. How would they explain such a weird situation to these famous men? The door of the apartment opened. Gustave Eiffel looked out. "Yes," he said. "Hello, can we come in?" asked Annie. Mr. Eiffel looked startled. "Goodness, I seem to have many unexpected guests tonight. How did you get up here, little girl? I thought the elevators were closed." "My brother and I climbed the stairs," said Annie. "Oh my, that's a very long climb for 2 children," said Mr. Eiffel. "Or anyone else, for that matter. Did someone invite you to a party here, too?" "Not exactly," said Annie. "Well, come in anyway. The more the merrier." Mr. Eiffel stepped back to let Annie and Jack inside. Then he closed the door behind them. The 4 men looked curiously at Jack and Annie. "Before you tell us about yourselves, allow me to introduce my other unexpected guests," said Mr. Eiffel. "This is Dr. Louis Pasteur." He pointed to the elderly man with a graying beard. "And Mr. Alexander Graham Bell." The big man with a white beard nodded. "And Mr. Thomas Alva Edison." The friendly-looking man reached out and shook both of their hands, first Annie's, then Jack's. "You can call me Alva," Mr. Edison said. "Hi, Alva," Jack murmured shyly. He couldn't believe he was shaking hands with Thomas Alva Edison. "You can call us Jack and Annie," said Annie. "So, Jack and Annie, how did you learn about this gathering?" Mr. Eiffel asked. "You have nothing to do with the inventions these gentlemen received, do you?" Annie smiled a goofy grin as she didn't know what to say next. She took a deep breath. "Well, no," she said, "but we know who sent them." "Who?" asked Mr. Eiffel. "An evil sorcerer who wants to steal the secrets of your magic," said Annie. "An evil sorcerer?" said Mr. Eiffel. "Yes," said Annie. "We can make him disappear, but we need you to tell us your secrets before he gets here." The 4 men just stared at her. "What did she say?" asked Mr. Edison, as if he were a little hard of hearing. "She says an evil sorcerer wants to steal the secrets of our magic," Mr. Eiffel said loudly, "and that we must tell our secrets before the sorcerer arrives." Mr. Edison laughed. So did the others. Jack felt his face grow red. "The secrets of our magic, eh?" said Mr. Eiffel. "That's really a very good question. Let's think. I believe the secret of my magic is actually quite simple. I have a taste for adventure and a love of work and responsibility, so the challenge of building the tallest structure in the world was greatly appealing to me." Very good, said Annie. Taste for adventure, love of work, and responsibility. She turned to Dr. Pasteur. Doctor, what's your secret? My secret, said Dr. Pasteur. He looked down at the floor for a long moment. Then he looked up and said, I believe my secret is this. Chance favors the prepared mind. The other men nodded. Said Mr. Bell. Ah, said Mr. Eiffel. Indeed, said Mr. Edison. What does that mean? Said Annie. Chance means luck, explained Dr. Pasteur. I dare say we all hope for a bit of luck in our work, but I find the more I study and prepare, the luckier I become. Oh, that makes good sense, said Annie. Studying makes you luckier. She turned to Mr. Edison. Alva, what's your secret? Mr. Edison smiled modestly. Well, let me see. His eyes were bright and twinkling. I suppose my secret is this. Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. The other men laughed. That's right, said Mr. Eiffel. Sweat, hard work, thousands of experiments fail, then finally one works. The other men clapped. I get it, said Annie. Genius is mostly sweat. Everyone then turned to the last magician. Oh, my, said Dr. Bell. He stroked his bushy white beard. How shall I say it? He closed his eyes. When one door closes, another door opens. Everyone started to applaud. Wait, there's more. Keeping his eyes closed, Mr. Bell continued. We often look so long and so regretfully upon the closed door that we do not see the new ones which open for us. He looked at everyone and smiled. The other men clapped again. Yes, yes, said Mr. Eiffel. There's always another door. Never give up hope, said Annie. Got it. Mr. Eiffel smiled at Annie. So, do you think our secrets would satisfy your evil sorcerer? Before Annie could answer, there was a loud knocking on the door.